Let's review how to solve our special right triangles, our 45, 45, 90, and our 30, 60, 90. The easiest way to solve any of these is just to set up ratios. Don't have to memorize anything. If you can remember what these triangles are, you can set up any proportion, any ratio, and solve for that. So you just need to remember for 45, 45, 90, we will always have a ratio of the legs will be 1, 1, and the hypotenuse will be square root of 2, and you can set that up using the Pythagorean theorem. For a 30, 60, 90, if you start with your short leg as 1, your long leg will be the square root of 3, and your hypotenuse will be 2. And I always, when I was a teenager, I would always forget which one was 2 and which one was square root of 3. The one I would remember. But if you can remember that your shortest side will be opposite your smallest angle. Your longest side, which is 2, will be across from your biggest angle, the right angle, and your mediumest side will be across from your medium angle. And if you forget, well, what is the square root of 3? The square root of 3, square root of 3 is about 1.7. And 1.7 is in between 1 and 2. So let's go ahead and solve a couple of examples, setting up our ratios. Example 1, let's see, I have a 45, and that will have to be 45 as well, if that's 90. My legs will be 8, so this unknown, this side BT, will be 8. And AT, well, if you remember 1, 1 square root of 2, this one will have to be 8 times the square root of 2. If you forget how to do that, just write in your 1, 1 square root of 2 and set up a ratio. So 8 over 1 will have to equal this unknown, I'll call it AT over square root of 2. And there we cross multiply. 1 times side AT is just AT, and 8 times square root of 2 is just 8 square root of 2. So you can either figure it out using your logic or you can cross multiply. Example 2, this one's usually more interesting if we're given the hypotenuse going down to a leg. You're like, ooh, how do I do that? Set up a ratio. 1, 1 square root of 2. And I'm going to say BO, here we go, BO over side, this one, which is 1, is going to have the same ratio as the hypotenuse, which has a length of 10, over the hypotenuse, which has a length of square root of 2. And cross multiply. 10 times 1 is 10, and BO times the square root of 2. I'm trying to solve for BO, side BO, so I'm going to divide by the square root of 2. They cross cancel. And I have BO is 10 times the square root, or 10 divided by the square root of 2. Now, I do not want to have an irrational number in my denominator, so I'm going to rationalize my denominator by multiplying it by the square root of 2 over the square root of 2 using the identity property. We get 10 times the square root of 2 over square root of 2 times square root of 2 is just 2. And I can simplify 10 over 2 to be 5 times the square root of 2. So this is 5 root 2, and since these are both equal, this other leg will also be 5 root 2. Let's do some 30, 60, 90s. Okay, let's see, I need to figure out F and G. Well, if this is 60, this has to be 30. And I know that there's a 1, 2 square root of 3. And if you can memorize it, you can know that the hypotenuse is 2, and you're going to half it to get the small leg. So side F will have to be half of 20, which will be 10. So that's going to be 10. And then the long leg will be the square root of 3 times the short leg. So that will have to be 10 square root of 3. But if you don't remember that and you just want to set up a proportion, here's what you do. Draw your 30, 60, 90 triangle. And I try to do it in the same orientation as what I see. So here's my short leg, hypotenuse, long leg, 1, 2 square root of 3. And let's do F first. I'm going to start with what I know. I know hypotenuse over hypotenuse. So hypotenuse over hypotenuse will be little leg F over little leg 1. Okay, so hypotenuse over hypotenuse equals little leg over little leg, and we're going to cross multiply. 20 times 1 is 20, f times 2 is 2f, divide by 2, and we get f is 10, which is what we got up here. We're going to do the same thing to find the long leg of g. Let's see, I'm going to still start with my hypotenuse. 20 over 2, so hypotenuse over hypotenuse equals long leg g over long leg square root of 3. Oops, sorry. Cross multiply, 2 times g is 2g. 20 times square root of 3 is 20 times square root of 3. Divide by 2, and we get g equals 20 divided by 2 is 10 square root of 3, which is what we got up there. Let's do one more where we have a square root in our original answer. See, I'm going to draw my 30, 60, 90. If that's 60, then this has to be 30. So there's my 30. Here's my 1, 2, square root of 3. If you can set this up, you are good to go. I'm going to start with what I know. So I'm going to start with my little leg over little leg. So 5 root 3 over little leg 1. So 5 root 3 over 1. And let's do v first. I'll do this one. I'll do long leg v over long leg square root of 3. So little leg over little leg equals long leg over long leg. Let's cross multiply. V times 1 is v. 5 root 3 times root 3. Well, that's nice. V equals 5. Root 3 times root 3 is just 3. So v equals 15. Hurrah! Oh, let's do the same thing for our hypotenuse. I'm still going to start with the side that I know. So I'm still going to start with that 5 root 3. So little leg over little leg, 5 root 3 over 1, equals hypotenuse over hypotenuse. So little leg over little leg equals hypotenuse over hypotenuse. Let's cross multiply. W times 1 is W, and 5 root 3 times 2 is just 10 root 3. So W is 10 root 3. And that is how you solve special right triangles using our handy dandy ratio method.